Baseball in the Boroughs is brought to you by Verizon. With my plan, get exactly what you want and only pay for what you need. Yankees third baseman Josh Donaldson hasn't been able to get his bats going, and the man was benched for the third straight game during a 5-3 win over the Rangers on Sunday. Aaron Boone and Donaldson had some ball talk before the game. So let's bring in New York Post Jared Schwartz for some context on the talk heard around the world and Donaldson's slump. You're laughing right there, man, but I'm kind of feeling for this man because as a former pro athlete, I know what that talk means. So I need you to break down this talk and give us some context. Now, Donaldson downplayed the conversation after the game when he spoke and said that Boone and him talk like that all the time, but I mean, he was benched again. So what did Boone say about the talk and Donaldson's slump?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm laughing just like Boone was laughing when he came, when he finally came for his pregame press conference yesterday. The timing of all this was pretty interesting yesterday. The lineup comes out that Donaldson is not in the lineup for the third straight game, and that's notable. He's a veteran. He's supposed to be a starter. He's supposed to be an everyday player for this team. 3 straight games is not something he's done with, out of the lineup is not something he's done with the Yankees. And, when he came into the clubhouse, a lot of reporters were waiting to speak to Donaldson to hear what he had to say about not being in the lineup. And our colleague Mark Sanchez asked him if he had a few minutes to talk about it. And he said, nope, not right now. And kind of walked by us and toward Aaron Boone's office, which was interesting because then for our pregame press conference, Aaron Boone was over 30 minutes late, which is notable because Boone is almost never late for these press conferences. And, it raises a little bit of suspicion. Did they do something with Donaldson? Did they make a move? Was something going on? And like I said, when Boone finally came into that press conference, he was smiling and he was laughing and said that it was a conversation with Donaldson that had run long. Now, look, he said it was just a conversation. They talked about life stories. They talked about, their personal lives. Like you said, Donaldson said it was ball talk and that they talk like that all the time. But, I think it's hard to take that, them for their word because it was a long talk. The timing of it was pretty suspicious. And look, Donaldson is a major story for this team right now. He's a major struggle. This is an offense that has struggled without Aaron Judge. And Donaldson has been a big part of that. So he did speak after the game, Donaldson. He didn't speak before the game, and he downplayed it. He said reporters were probably trying to make too much of it, trying to, invent something that wasn't there. But it seems like there is something there, at least at the moment.
Yeah, there is something there because he's 2 for 29 since he returned from the injured list this month. So did Donaldson or Boone give any thoughts or calls on what's caused this slump?
They didn't, they went out of their way to not get into specifics about their talk. It was funny. They didn't really say it was more than ball talk. But look, Donaldson is hitting too many ground balls. He's a guy who's a power hitter. He's a home run hitter. That's why he won MVP a couple of years ago. Both of them did point to the fact that Donaldson's hitting the ball hard, as a positive sign. Now he has to work on that launch angle and getting the ball in the air and getting back to what made him such a good player. Donaldson did mention that before this break, he felt like his swing was getting back to where it should be, or that he felt good. He had some outs that he said he hit the ball well in, which makes it a little, weird that they would give him a break right after he said he was getting some good swings. So, it's interesting. Both of them, both Donaldson or particularly Boone said there is something still in there in Donaldson that he's trying to get out, especially offensively, that he thinks this break will help get out of him.
All right. You said they're talking about life events and all that cool stuff, but at the end of the day, you are a professional athlete. You are paid to hit the ball. So does Boone believe that Donaldson can hit himself out of this slump? And did he give like a date or even a game amount where he wants to see this slump end or else?
That's why he said he's giving him this break, is to get him back to that point where he's an everyday player. He said specifically, whatever, verbiage you want to use, starter, everyday player. He said he's going to play a lot, and he's trying to get back to that point where he's an everyday player and he's a force in their lineup. And he helps add some power to this lineup outside of Aaron Judge. He didn't give a specific, timetable in terms of games that he's going to hold him out. It was interesting that it didn't appear that Donaldson was in the dugout yesterday during the game. That's interesting. That makes it seem like he wasn't available as off the bench as a pinch hitter even. So it's interesting how quickly they bring Donaldson back. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and DJ LeMahieu have played at third base the last 2 games. Those are certainly 2 guys that can play third base going forward. And that's Donaldson's spot, when he comes back or if he comes back. So it'll be interesting, how quickly they bring him back, when they bring him back, and if those struggles continue when he comes back, how long they want to stick with him, to work through those struggles.
When he comes back, you might see him take a page out of Pedro Serrano's book from the movie Major League and go full voodoo on it. But either way, hopefully he can get out this slump. I thought you'd laugh at that, Jared. It's twice in like a couple of days you laugh at the joke.
Until the end, where he gives up the voodoo and he does it himself at the end of the movie.
All right, there you go. Okay, you know the movie. All right, awesome. All right, thanks for jumping on, man.
Thanks, Brandon.